are interviewing Carol Carter, who is a newcomer to Gooding. Hello, Carol.
Hello, Natalie.
To start off, where did you live before you came to Gooding?
For 75 years, I lived in California, and I love California. I didn't want to leave, but I wanted to be near my family. So we moved here to be near my daughter, Elke, and her son, Ashwin.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up, I was born in Los Angeles, but I only lived there 6 months. My dad was in seminary in Illinois, so we were there 6 months. So when I was 1 year old, then we started living in churches all over California. At first, churches that my dad was serving as a student pastor in LA, and later all over the San Joaquin Valley and the Sacramento Valley of Central California.
What was your childhood family like? Mom, dad, or any brothers or sisters?
Yeah, mom was a homebody because there were 5 children. I was the oldest of 5. I have 3 brothers and 1 sister, all younger than I am. So I was the bossy one.
If you could go back in time and give your childhood self advice, what would it be?
I would tell my little girl Carol to not have to smile all the time. I still smile when I'm sad or angry sometimes because she always said, "Carol, your smile is so beautiful." My mother would tell me this, and she, when I didn't smile, it alarmed her. She was worried something was terribly wrong with me.
What kind of work did you do?
My last job was actually in Auburn, California for my first 8 years of retirement. I just worked as the coordinator of the children's ministry with young families and children. Before that, I was a pastor 28 years in the United Methodist Church in California. And before that, for 10 years, I taught school. I was a kindergarten teacher and a pre-K teacher.
What made you choose that kind of work?
I chose to work with children because I love children. I've taught Sunday school my whole life, started when I was 12 years old. And that was easy because my dad was the preacher, so he let me do things. But I love children, and then when I was teaching, I became more deeply involved in my church. And I love the church. I love communicating to people that they are precious, that they're loved by God. And that message, that good news, that gospel that our particular faith has, it just feels like I was born to tell other people that good news.
What brought you to Gooding?
Oh, I came here because I was so much of my time away from my children. My daughter, Elke, she's my pride and joy. She's my first child. And I thought she just needed her mom. So I saw this pretty house, Bill Oakley's old house here in Gooding, and I go, "It's for sale?"
You moved here during a pandemic. What
Yes.
challenges did that cause?
Oh, it was so hard because people came out to meet us the day we moved in. The neighbors came and introduced themselves. And then with the pandemic, we're all shut in our houses. We couldn't socialize with them in a normal way. Some people invited us to a barbecue. We couldn't go. We had to protect ourselves because we're older people, my husband Tom and I, and protect my family, my daughter and my grandson Ashwin. And it was really hard to move here right before the pandemic really broke out. And so we've been pretty isolated from our neighbors, even though we know them and we like them a lot. But we haven't been able to sit down over dinner or picnic or relax in the backyard,
Have you gotten involved in any community groups?
Gooding United Methodist Church, number 1. I love coming here with my daughter to worship together with her. It means a lot to me. And then I also got in, Amanda Gale and I have started a DBSA support group online. And I've really enjoyed, it's hard getting it started, but I feel that it will offer a lot to people in the community who have depression or who are bipolar, because I have found from my past experience that being in a support group makes everything really different, takes away stigma, helps people to see that they can be well even though they have a mental illness. So anyway, I meet with the Democrats That's probably not a surprise to anyone who knows I come from California, but I enjoy the community of mostly older women who are in that group, and I'm learning more about the community from them.
You started teaching godly play at church. Can you tell me about that?
Yes. 30 years ago, I met a teacher at a retreat for Christian educators whose name is Jerome Berryman. And he taught godly play. He invented it and began to use it in his church. He is an Episcopalian educator, and he presented stories in such a way that when he would be telling a Bible story, suddenly I found myself in the middle of the story. I wasn't just listening to something over there. I could see my own life in the story, and it helped me to understand more about how God and people can come close together. I loved that. I was convinced the minute I heard him tell one story that I wanted to learn all the stories and to teach the children in our churches. That's what I did, and that's what I'm doing. Godly play is not like being in school. Sunday school is, but godly play is like being in worship. So when we come here, we worship God together as children and adults together. So that's why I love it. I feel like it's my church. It's my worship experience.
You also started a depression and bipolar support group. What made you decide to start that?
My whole family has mental illness. I was raised by a mother who has extreme mood changes, which have made my life really difficult and sometimes dangerous. And now in my grown-up family, I have a brother who has bipolar. I have a grandfather who was bipolar. I have children who have various and sundry kinds of mental challenges and disorders. So I need to be in a support group myself, because I've been in a group in California, an Auburn Grass Valley group, DBSA, for 3 years, and I know how powerful and how healing and how encouraging it can be to be in a group with other people who have the same condition that they suffer with. So I missed it when I moved here. I love the slow pace of Gooding. And I lived in many little towns just like this, with the train going through at midnight and again at 2 o'clock. It feels like home to me because it's small, and the friendliness. People have been friendly. I didn't expect that, because in California we hear that people here don't like Californians. But when I moved here, that's not my experience at all. I've not met anybody who wasn't kind and open to talking with me or anybody else.
There's one thing about Gooding you hope never changes. What would it be?
The roses in front of the courthouse, the flowers in everybody's yard, the trees in the fall with their golden colors right now, it's spectacular. The beauty here, the beauty is everywhere. And I like that all the people that have homes or rent homes or have businesses, they take pride in creating their own little atmosphere that reflects their own values and their own life. So I like the diversity of way people are living here together and yet in their own special way.
What is something you think can help your neighbors better understand you?
I think those questions are hard. Them understanding me and me understanding them. I think the main thing is when we finally aren't afraid because of COVID to be together, that we will naturally get to know each other just by talking, being together. It'll happen.
What can your neighbors do that will help you better understand them?
Not much they can right now. Like I said, we're all handicapped by the pandemic. And the church feels that too, I know a lot. So I'm looking forward to getting past that stage of life that we're in right now, and just being able to associate with you. I would love to get to know all my neighbors, the ones that speak Spanish, the ones that are from India, the ones who are English people, the people who have been farmers here for years, all the different people that are in Gooding. It's really a variety, but we don't experience that in our daily life.
Well, that's all the questions we have today. I I enjoyed interviewing you today.
Thank you, Natalie. I enjoyed being here.